Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a topic that's been captivating and frankly, scaring us for centuries. Why are humans so obsessed with the apocalypse? It's a question that sparks debate. We see it in movies, books, video games, and even whispered conversations about current events. The end of the world, in its various forms, seems to hold a strange power over our collective imagination. But why? What is it about this concept that keeps us coming back for more, even when it's terrifying? It's more complex than just fear. There is something compelling in these narratives, something that connects with our deepest anxieties and desires. Let's start with the obvious: fear. The fear of the unknown is a fundamental human emotion. The apocalypse, whatever form it takes, represents the ultimate unknown. It's the complete dismantling of everything we know and rely on. This fear is deeply ingrained. We are wired to anticipate threats. The fear of an apocalypse is really our survival instinct kicking into overdrive. What if the resources we need disappear? What if the structures of society crumble? Will we survive? Thinking about these things generates fear. Beyond fear, there's the allure of control, or at least the illusion of it. In our everyday lives, we have limited control. We follow rules, we go to work, we pay bills. But in apocalyptic scenarios, those rules vanish. Suddenly, survival depends on our own ingenuity, resourcefulness, and adaptability. We imagine ourselves as heroes, making tough decisions, protecting loved ones, and carving out a new existence from the ashes. This is empowering. We can imagine a scenario we have control over, even if it is improbable. Think about it. Many apocalyptic stories focus on the after. We rarely see entire collapses. We join the story when people are already building. What does that say? It focuses on the possibility of building something better. Imagine building a new society from scratch, free from the mistakes and injustices of the past. Apocalyptic narratives offer a chance to reimagine society, to create a world based on our values. They become thought experiments. They ask us, what would we build if we had the chance to start over? How would we create a more just society? Another key element is the inherent drama and excitement. Apocalyptic stories are, by their nature, high stakes. They're filled with danger, suspense, and life-or-death situations. This provides a powerful adrenaline rush for readers and viewers. We're drawn to the conflict. The struggle for survival against overwhelming odds is inherently compelling. It allows us to experience a sense of danger and excitement from the safety of our armchairs. Let's talk about religion. For centuries, religious texts have predicted cataclysmic events that will usher in a new era. The book of Revelation in the Bible, for example, describes a series of plagues, wars, and cosmic disasters that will precede the second coming of Christ. These prophecies resonate deeply within many cultures, shaping our understanding of the end times. The promise of redemption and a new world order offered by many religions adds another layer to our fascination with the apocalypse. These religious stories often tap into pre-existing cultural anxieties. Floods, famines, and plagues have always been a part of human history, and these events have often been interpreted as divine punishment or signs of the end times. Apocalyptic narratives, therefore, can be seen as a way of processing and coping with these anxieties. They offer a framework for understanding suffering and finding meaning in the face of disaster. They become cultural touchstones in times of hardship. Science fiction plays a significant role in shaping our modern apocalyptic anxieties. Nuclear war, climate change, pandemics, and asteroid impacts have all become popular themes in science fiction films and books. These stories often serve as cautionary tales, warning us about the potential consequences of our actions. They translate science into stories. People are more likely to understand climate change if they can see a story where a person suffers because of its effects. These science fiction narratives often explore the ethical dilemmas that arise in a post-apocalyptic world. What happens when resources are scarce? How do we balance individual rights with the needs of the community? What are we willing to do to survive? These questions force us to confront our own values and consider how we would behave in extreme circumstances. They help us decide what is important to us. If your family was starving, what would you do? The popularity of dystopian fiction is closely linked to our fascination with the apocalypse. Dystopian stories depict societies that are superficially utopian, but are actually oppressive and dehumanizing. These narratives often serve as warnings about the dangers of unchecked power, technological advancements, and social engineering. Dystopian scenarios tend to happen right before the apocalypse. The dystopia breeds the conditions necessary for an apocalypse to occur. Dystopian stories often feature a lone hero or group of rebels who fight against the oppressive system. These characters offer us a vicarious sense of hope and resistance. They show us that even in the darkest of times, it's possible to fight for a better future. They highlight what one person can do in the face of societal ruin. People are inspired to act after seeing these stories. The survivalist movement has also contributed to our fascination with the apocalypse. Survivalists are individuals or groups who actively prepare for emergencies, including natural disasters, economic collapse, and societal breakdown. They often stockpile food, water, and supplies, and they may also learn survival skills such as hunting, fishing, and self-defense. They want to be able to handle the end of times. For survivalists, the apocalypse is not just a hypothetical scenario. It's a potential reality that they are actively preparing for. This mindset can be empowering, as it gives them a sense of control and preparedness. It also might stem from a fundamental lack of trust in the system. The survivalist believes they are the only ones who can help themselves when the time comes. The zombie apocalypse is a particularly popular subgenre that blends elements of horror, science fiction, and survivalism. Zombie stories often explore themes of societal collapse, human nature, and the importance of community. The zombie horde also represents a faceless enemy. The zombies do not represent a specific person or ideal, just death. The appeal of zombie stories may lie in their simplicity. In a zombie apocalypse, the lines between good and evil are clearly defined. The zombies are mindless creatures driven by instinct, while the survivors are forced to band together to protect themselves. This simplified moral landscape can be strangely comforting. It cuts through the complexity of modern society. Climate change is a very real threat to our planet. The scientific consensus is that human activity is causing significant changes to the Earth's climate, leading to rising temperatures, sea level rise, extreme weather events, and other environmental problems. Climate change could lead to a type of slow apocalypse. The world gets worse over time. The potential consequences of climate change are dire, and they could lead to widespread social and economic disruption. Some scientists believe that climate change could even trigger a collapse of civilization if we fail to take action to mitigate its effects. This is a very real and credible apocalypse scenario for many. It might be the most probable. Pandemics, like the recent COVID-19 pandemic, can also trigger apocalyptic anxieties. A highly contagious and deadly virus could quickly spread across the globe, overwhelming healthcare systems and causing widespread death and panic. This is another apocalypse that we've seen a recent example of. Pandemics can also lead to social unrest, economic collapse, and political instability. The fear of infection can drive people to isolate themselves, leading to a breakdown of social cohesion. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown us how quickly our lives can be disrupted by a global health crisis. It's a very real example of the fragility of our society. Asteroid impacts are another potential cause of an apocalypse. While the chances of a major asteroid impact are relatively low, the consequences would be catastrophic. A large asteroid could cause widespread destruction, tsunamis, and climate change, potentially leading to the extinction of humanity. It's one of the more classic apocalyptic scenarios. We can learn a lot by looking at past societal collapses. Throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, often due to factors such as environmental degradation, overpopulation, war, and disease. Studying these past collapses can give us insights into the factors that make societies vulnerable and the strategies that can help us avoid a similar fate. These historical collapses are not necessarily apocalyptic events in the sense of total extinction, but they do represent a significant disruption of social order and a decline in living standards. They can serve as a warning about the potential consequences of unsustainable practices and a lack of foresight. They can teach us to build societies that are less likely to collapse. Ultimately, our fascination with the apocalypse is a reflection of our deepest fears and anxieties about the future. It's a way of exploring our potential for both destruction and resilience. By confronting these fears, we can gain a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Thinking about the apocalypse can actually be beneficial. It can encourage us to be more mindful of our impact on the environment, to strengthen our communities, and to prepare for potential emergencies. It can inspire us to create a more sustainable and equitable world. It can also encourage us to be self-sufficient. So, next time you find yourself watching a movie about the end of the world, take a moment to consider why you're drawn to it. Are you afraid? Are you seeking a sense of control? Are you hoping for a better future? Understanding your own motivations can help you appreciate the complexity of our shared fascination with the apocalypse. If you found this dive into the doomsday fascinating, maybe like and subscribe to see more content like this. It would really help me out. We need to move past doomerism. It's important to recognize that while the threats we face are real, they are not insurmountable. We have the power to create a better future, but it will require collective action, innovation, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Focusing on solutions is key. The conversation around the apocalypse should focus on hope. We can create a more resilient and sustainable world. We can build stronger communities. We can learn from the mistakes of the past. And that is much more engaging and will inspire us. The apocalypse is a possibility, but so is a better future. Let's consider what makes us resilient. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It's the capacity to adapt to change and overcome challenges. As individuals and as a society, we need to cultivate resilience in order to navigate the uncertain future that lies ahead. Resilience comes from strong social connections, access to resources, and a sense of purpose. It's about having the support we need to cope with stress and the skills to navigate difficult situations. It's also about maintaining a positive outlook and believing in our ability to overcome challenges. In conclusion, our obsession with the apocalypse is a complex phenomenon with roots in fear, religion, science fiction, and our own desire for control and meaning. By understanding the different factors that contribute to this fascination, we can gain a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us. We need to think critically about the stories we tell ourselves about the future, and to focus on building a more resilient and sustainable world.